Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest football transfer news. And I suppose the big headlines are deal off. That's what we seem to be reacting to this morning. Unsurprisingly, Newcastle are saying not for sale in relation to Isak, but also Napoli pulling out of a deal for Darwin Nunez and Luis Diaz saying that he wants to leave Liverpool. So at the moment, there seems to be a lot of blockades for transfers. Is it just part of the game, or will these players end up staying where they are? I suppose what it does say is that it's good for teams like Liverpool and Arsenal, etc., who have done their business early, that they're not locked in this stalemate in mid-July when we're getting very close to the start of the Premier League season. But let's start it off. I also want to talk about Rodrygo as well. But the big story yesterday was Isak. We were talking yesterday morning about Ekitike and Newcastle's advancement, and how I thought, and many of you thought, it was not going to be possible for Liverpool just to sit back there and do nothing. They didn't. It was yesterday afternoon that we heard that they want to put that record bid in for Isak from Newcastle. Well, this morning, this is what we're getting out. The Magpies feel the leaking of Liverpool's 120 million interest into the public domain is designed to settle Isak. That's coming out from the Telegraph. I don't think Liverpool need to unsettle Isak by putting it out there that they'll break the British transfer record for him. I mean, you literally could just tell his agent and he would know. It being public just means everybody else knows about it. And at the end of the day, you're not really unsettling somebody by saying we're willing to break the British transfer record for them. It's very much, do you want to come to Liverpool? And if you do, then you have a word with your chairman or whoever. And if they say you're not for sale, you're not for sale. Look at what's happening with Mbeumo and Gibbs-White. They're still training with Forest and Brentford respectively. They're still behaving professionally. And I would accept the same from Isak, even if he said, I would take that move to Liverpool if you were interested in selling me. But they weren't. Bruno Fernandes, to a certain extent, with Al Hilal, asked the question of Manchester United, and they said they didn't want it to happen. And he's still there as well. So footballers are professionals, a lot of them. Some of them will go on strike and stuff, but I don't see that with Isak. I think what this comes down to is Newcastle are in a bit of a dilemma because, as we know, Liverpool are rivaling this bid for Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike, and they will go in, a lot harder if Isak is not possible. And Newcastle hold the keys here. You hold on to Isak, you don't get Ekitike. You probably don't get Ekitike. You say you will sell Isak and you do get Ekitike. They're not going to get both, I don't think, and that's probably an irritant for Newcastle. But they need to get used to that. They're not the powerhouse of football that they would like to be, and that's why they've missed out on João Pedro and Bryan Mbeumo already this summer. So I think that Liverpool played the power play yesterday, and Newcastle probably want to play a power play back, and it will end up with them missing out on their second forward of the summer, with Ekitike probably going to Liverpool. And I think, Liverpool have presented what is a fair thing. We will take Isak for a British transfer record and you can have Ekitike, or you can refuse us and we will go for Ekitike and you can go for something else. And that's the situation today. It's up for grabs. It's definitely up for grabs. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. But I suspect Newcastle are going to say no because they want both. But let's wait and see what happens with it. My feeling is that Liverpool will get Ekitike and Newcastle will stick with Isak, and maybe that's the way to go. But one question that did pop into my head: if Liverpool did get Isak, do you think he'd win the Golden Boot? Considering the goals he scored with Newcastle last year, do you think he'd get the Golden Boot in a Liverpool side? I think it's an interesting one. I still think that. I'd love to see Haaland, Gyokeres and Isak go head-to-head for the Golden Boot. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. That would be interesting. But I don't know. I think the goals are distributed around Liverpool a little bit more. But I thought I'd just pose that question. Talking about goals, he's not scored enough. Darwin Nunez, it's a rejection from Napoli. They've informed Liverpool a deal for the Uruguay striker is and can be considered off. This is coming in from Fabrizio Romano. So that deal is off. Fabrizio also on Isak saying that Liverpool have again confirmed to Newcastle they have an intention to present a record bid for Isak. However, the proposal is ready, £120 million package, but will only be sent if Newcastle change their stance always been not for sale. Just on Rodrygo as well, a little bit of developments over the last 24 hours, which we haven't mentioned. Real Madrid are willing to sell. It's all about whether he wants to go. Arsenal were a very big contender, but they've settled on Madueke. They're pretty much out of the race unless they drop their interest in Eze, which is still advancing. Liverpool themselves could still be very much in that race. Chelsea have been mentioned again. I wouldn't rule it out. Amazingly, I would not rule that out. You never know with Chelsea. But Liverpool considered to be the favourites at the moment if he's to come to the Premier League. Obviously, I think this is logically linked to what happens with Luis Diaz. It's being reported by The Athletic that Diaz has made it clear he wants to leave this summer after the club rejected a 58.6 million bid from Bayern Munich. And I have to say, all right, Luis Diaz is 28, but £58.6 million is not as good as it's £3 million more than what Newcastle paid for Elanga. I think Liverpool have got a right to push that closer to £70 million. So, but if that does happen, then maybe you do go for Rodrygo, and I think that would be an upgrade for Liverpool. So keep your eyes on what is happening with that. They've also apparently put a price on Konaté. I read that this morning, that Konaté, Liverpool want £60 million for him as well. Liverpool are going to have to do something in the centre-back market, I would suggest, with the fact that Kwanzaa and potentially Konaté could go as well. But yeah, look, I think we're starting to hit that part of the transfer window now where I think certain teams, Arsenal, have pretty much got their business done apart from Gyokeres. Now, Gyokeres' deal is not off by any stretch of the imagination. We probably just need to wait till Sunday, because it seems to be every Sunday Arsenal make some progression. But it's not done again. It's almost like the Sunday before where everyone was going, we're going to get Here We Go. And then we get this Sunday and we're going to get Here We Go. And here we are on Wednesday and it's not Here We Go yet. And I think what's happening here is that Arsenal are going to get this deal done and Gyokeres wants to go to Arsenal. But the technicalities of this deal with Sporting is that they want to deliver this fee of, is it 60 million up front or 60 million euros up front? And whilst there has been reductions in agent fees, etc., I don't think Sporting want things to be, you'll get that in the future. I think they want it now. And Arsenal have sort of dug their feet in about this. So, yeah, I mean, look, he's on strike, so you would think that at some point this will get resolved. I think it will get resolved, but it just shows you how some transfers can get really frustrating. We've had plenty of transfers that have happened quickly this summer, but some of them can get quite frustrating. And I think with Arsenal, this is such an important one. But with pre-season and everything, you don't want a player on strike. Like, he's not getting pre-season with anybody. And Burmo, Gibbs-White will probably end up at Man United and Spurs, but they're currently at Brentford and Forest. They're having a pre-season. Gyokeres isn't getting a pre-season. If Arsenal get on that plane to, I think they're heading out to, is it Asia this time? If they get on that plane there and Gyokeres isn't on it and he's not training with Sporting, yes, he's a very good striker, but no pre-season training and no pre-season, you know, that makes him cold for the start of the season, which is very important for Arsenal. So the balancing act here for what is effectively 5 million euros becomes quite important at some stage, I would say. Anyway, get your comments in. I'm sure we're in for another interesting day, which we'll react to. But where do you think Isak will end up? Where do you think Ekitike will end up? Where do you think Rodrygo will end up? Get your comments in. Where do you think Darwin Nunez is going to end up now? That Napoli move is off. So what will happen there? We'll have to wait and see. Get your comments in. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.